Hey YouTube, how's it going? First order of business, we had our first snow in Minnesota. Check it out, there it is, mixed with the leaves all in my lawn. And it's not very cold and it's not going to stick around forever, but I'm excited because it snowed, and that's just cool. Okay, so, football. The Vikings beat the Packers, and I love it. I love it, I love it. Childress became coach, and the Vikings lost their first 5 to the Pack, and that kind of sucked. But things have been getting better, and I'm very much a big fan of that, and so good job, Vikings. It was a fun game to watch. So I don't even have that much to say about it, but Favre was great, and the Viking, it wasn't as close as the score said it was, in my opinion. So, just a cool game to watch. Up next, the Vikings have the Rams in St. Louis. The Rams are not good so far. And I was looking at them and the other 0-4 teams, and it's like, yeah, none of them have won yet, but the Rams are, like, really, really bad. Like, they haven't scored hardly any points, and they've let the other teams score a lot of points. And I don't have it in front of me, but I know that they're on pace to set records for that. So, you thought Detroit was bad last year. Well, so far it looks like the Rams are worse this year. So, Minnesota has the opportunity to show that it can do, again, what it's done in the past, which is beat a team it should beat. They beat the Browns on the road, they beat the Lions on the road, and they should. And now they have the Rams on the road, and they just need to go and get it done, which is cool. So I'm expecting that they will. I'll be surprised if they don't. But assuming they do, we're looking at 5-0. And then the next 3 games after the Rams are home against the Baltimore Ravens, who suffered their first loss against the Patriots last week, and it was questionable. It was a close loss, and there were some funny penalties, and Baltimore feels like they should have had that one. So I think they're for real. I think they're a good team. The next week is going to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. The Steelers have shown they're vulnerable this year, but they came out and made a pretty big statement against the Chargers last Sunday night before their defense fell apart and almost let the Chargers come back. It was a pretty dominating game for the Steelers. And then week 8 is at Lambeau Field. And then a bye. So Minnesota's got a tough 3 games before its bye. And I would love for them to win 2 of those 3. I'm kind of assuming they'll win at least 1 of those 3, but it's hard to say which one. Baltimore is good, but it's at home. The Steelers used to be really good and have shown some weaknesses this year, but it's in Pittsburgh. So both of those are sort of, I wouldn't be that surprised if they lost either of those, or possibly even both. And then at Lambeau Field, it's tough to sweep a division rival, and especially when the second game is on the road, it's going to be an emotional game, and I'm not making any predictions for that. I feel like Green Bay has figured out how to stop Adrian Peterson. Now they need to figure out how to take care of other issues on their defense and get that offensive line healthy. Clifton's supposed to be back. They signed some guy, I forget who, but they should be a tougher team in Week 8 than they were in Week 4, and it's going to be in Green Bay. So all 3 of those games are pretty rough. If the Vikings end up 5-3 at the bye, it's almost a worst-case scenario. Technically, they could be 4-4, but 5-3 is the minimum, I think, that they'll be. 6-2 is what I would be happy with. 7-1, I think, is possible, but I'm not going to get my hopes up and then feel disappointed if they can't make it happen. So that's where we're at. I'm excited to watch them beat up on the Rams tomorrow, and yeah, Skol Vikes.